Hi everybody. Do you suffer from negative thoughts?
God, that person working the movie counter told me to have a good movie, and I said you too. I'm so stupid.
Are you constantly talking down to yourself in your head?
If I were a sandwich, I'd be an idiot sandwich.
Do you get mean to yourself out of sheer boredom?
Man, this TV show is so boring. I think I'm gonna relive moments of intense embarrassment now.
Then I have just the thing for you. They're sometimes overprescribed in the wrong circumstances, but hardly explained. Try positive affirmations. Whoa, yeah. The truth is, positive affirmations are sometimes overprescribed. We all have the experience of going through something significant with real world. Do you need help? Okay. We all have the experience of going through something significant with real-world consequences and being told, just think nice things. Have a glass of water, bro. Deep breathe. Thanks for the advice. This eviction is way better now. In fact, I think positive affirmations have gotten a bad rap. Why is it we cringe at the thought of looking in a mirror and saying, hey sport, you're gonna kill it today? And why is it we want to gag at the thought of saying something nice about ourselves out loud? You know what? I would rather call myself an idiot than say something nice about myself out loud. I think a lot of that has to do with how affirmations have been misused. Sometimes people tell us to use affirmations to deny reality, and then the affirmation just feels like cope, and you feel like you're insane. Sometimes, no amount of self-affirming is going to change reality. And sometimes, we're told to use affirmations that don't feel believable to us. These affirmations come from people that have good intentions, but they're not compatible with our spirits. Sometimes, affirmations don't work because they don't address the underlying issue in our thinking patterns. Consider this. Imagine your whole life, you used a fork to slice bread. It could be any number of combinations. Maybe because of where you live, people don't know what knives are. Maybe nobody taught you how to use a knife. And because of habits you learned as a child, now as an adult, you follow those same patterns because you don't know anything else. Realistically, cutting bread with a fork is stressful. You can try to reduce your stress by telling yourself, wow, I cut this bread so good with this fork. I'm a natural. I'm a real Picasso with the fork. And, well, nobody does it better than me. But the reality is, you don't need to tell yourself you're good with a fork because there's a knife. The issue is, you're not using a knife. So, the real solution here is to tackle the underlying cause of the stress or the behavior, not band-aid it with a positive affirmation. Another issue is sometimes we use affirmations in place of taking action. As with the previous example, maybe you learn about knives as an adult, but you continue to not use them because you're scared of getting cut. If you tell yourself, I don't need to use a knife, I can make myself feel better slicing my bread with my fork, you might be making life harder than it has to be. Now, you might have just heard all this and think I'm an affirmation hater, but honestly, to be real with you, if it's just between us, if I can be honest here, if I can just be real for a second, I really like positive affirmations because I think when they're used correctly, they can be a huge game changer and great for nurturing a healthy mindset. The trick is just knowing when and how to use them. Personally, I feel like affirmations work great with reinforcing the values that are most important to you. Living within your values is like soul food. For example, one of my values is to win no matter what. Yeah. Is to lead with understanding and kindness. When I encounter a situation that requires me to act in accordance with my values, I hit myself with an affirmation. Your affirmations should be personal and should resonate with you. So for me, I tell myself, the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. On first glance, this doesn't even sound like an affirmation. I'm not even saying anything nice about myself, but affirmations don't have to be traditional platitudes. That quote is a powerful one that resonates deeply with me, and I take them as words to live by. So, the affirmation inspires me to live within part of my values. Being honest but kind with yourself is another helpful application of affirmations. You shouldn't be deluding yourself. You aren't infallible, and you aren't perfect, but that doesn't mean you have to knock yourself down a peg. Here's an example of a more traditional affirmation. Let's say I did something really stupid. I might say to myself, yeah, that wasn't my best idea, but I'm generally pretty on top of things. I'm not lying to myself. I'm not denying the reality of the situation, but I'm still affirming myself and reinforcing a healthy mindset. Try to be nice to yourself in your head. It's how you cultivate a healthy mentality. And that brings me to my final point in the video. Positive self-talk is crucial. Think about this. When someone is addicted to something, they build connections in their brain, literally build connections with neurons that reinforce a behavior as a result of addiction. Whenever you behave in a way that reinforces an addiction, that neural pathway lights up and reinforces itself. As a result, when people step away from addictions, it can be easier to relapse because they have these massive dormant neural pathways that are quick to light up when you engage in the addictive behavior that built the pathway. In the same way, practicing positive self-talk builds healthy neural pathways that get stronger the more you practice. It's hard at first, but it does get easier. Positive self-talk and affirmations can take on many forms. For example, I studied a lot for this test. I think I'll do pretty good. Or, you know what? I'm pretty good at remembering to lock the front door. One crucial final takeaway point that I want to make a little bit off the cuff is that you are absolutely deserving of these positive affirmations. They don't have to be cheesy, they don't have to be corny, you just have to pick something that resonates with you. To me, the goal of positive affirmations seems to be about building self-confidence and kind, positive self-talk that you can use to nurture a better relationship with yourself. I've talked before about how it's important to treat yourself like you treat a best friend, and I feel like positive affirmations can help a lot of people get there. I think one of the main things that I want to drive home is that affirmations, they'll only really work if we believe in what we're saying. You know, this is not to say that affirmations are a placebo. There's a lot of value that affirmations can provide you. As most people will tell you, you can't really just, tell yourself like, oh, I am, good at this thing and not believe it. Because if you don't believe it, it's not going to do anything for you and it's not going to work. And you're kind of just, wasting your internal narrator's breath, which is honestly, if you think about it, like that guy has to read so many things for you. You kind of have to believe in what you're actually saying to yourself. The goal of the affirmation is to challenge yourself to embrace a healthier mindset that cultivates personal growth. It's to encourage you to think about things from a healthier perspective, or a perspective that is more beneficial to you. That's pretty much all I wanted to add on. Thank you so much. Thank you. In my opinion, at least. That's my opinion. Thanks. That's just my opinion. All right. Okay. You have a good one. That was my opinion right there. You were just listening to my opinion. Thanks for listening to my opinion. That was my opinion. All right. See you later. That was my opinion. Anyways, try being nice to yourself, because isn't this world mean enough already? I've got a cat that needs to be fed. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye.